What's going on, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening if it is indeed afternoon, evening for you. We are coming in with another episode of the podcast. The Better Body Academy podcast is here. And we are going live across all the socials. I'm pretty pumped about this episode. So if you're coming to this one live, guys, make sure that you let us know that you're here. Say hello. Come and get us. And if you are watching this one on replay, especially if you're new, what we do here is hashtag replay in the comments so that we know that you've been here, you've got the juice, and you're ready to rock and roll. Now, we're going to start this episode in 2 minutes so we can allow all of our regulars and any of our new folk to come and pay their dues. So, good morning to you guys. I hope you're having a beautiful start to the morning. Like I said, if you're coming into this one live, you know the drill. Get down into the comments and let us know that you're here. Facebook is sending us all across the platform. We are coming into YouTube, LinkedIn, and just in a moment, we'll add Instagram to that as well. Good morning, JC boy. I want to shout out my main men and women that will this week run the Sydney Marathon. I'm super freaking proud of you guys, especially you, Jace, running your first marathon. This is going to be wicked, brother. Hello, Tezza. Love that I have your company here as well, champion. Guys, if you're coming to this one live, we're going to be kicking start this episode in 1 minute. So counting down. I'll tell you what, guys, I'm a little bit excited. We're coming to the end of 75 hard. It's been a bloody ride, I tell you that much. Been a little bit more quiet about it over the course of the last couple of months, but some really good results, both physically and mentally. And to any of you that have kind of looking for a little bit of a challenge, I would highly recommend that 75 hard is a great little thing to put your head into. Good morning, Dennis. How are you, legend? Guys, we're going to start this one in 30 seconds. Give a few of the stragglers their chance to come into this one late. How pumped are you for the weekend, JC boy? You ready to ride, mate? You ready to break some records, pal? I'm super freaking excited for you, mate. Very, very, very excited. All right. I think we're going to bring in the Instagram stream now so that we can count this one in. So let's do that. I don't know. Why is Instagram not working? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll just leave Instagram as it is. Okay, guys, I think we are ready to rock and roll. So if you've got any questions about the content of this podcast, or you want to ask or comment along the way, then by all means, please do so, and I can stick around at the end and answer any questions. Good morning, Zah. How are you, brother? Love to have you here as well, buddy. If you've got any questions, guys, please let us know, and I'll get to them at the end of the podcast. So let's get stuck into it. On the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Now, in today's episode, we're going to have more of a conversational chat. I haven't prepared too many notes at all. This isn't scripted in any way. What I want to do is talk about change, because I think all of us would like, even if we are on the journey already, we would certainly like to bring in more abundance. That means more money, better relationships, better health, more happiness. And I want to talk about the process that one must go through to actually experience this. What I also want to just point out at the start is, in my experience, I tell you what, it's not about growth. It's not about getting to a certain place and then I'll be happy. The truth is, once you start to realize what you're capable of, you open a Pandora's box. What ends up happening is when you go from physically deplete and tired, and then one day you decide to get off your ass and change your life, what actually ends up happening is you start to unpack new levels to your life, which then compounds upon itself. And for me, it becomes this infinite game that you just want to keep playing. You just want to keep playing because you want to keep testing yourself. You want to keep realizing what you're capable of. And to all of those of you that are on the path already, congratulations. It becomes addictive. But I actually think that in its origins, getting on the path usually starts with a huge amount of pain. So what does it really take to change things in your life? I feel that there's around 11 steps that you kind of got to go through, and I want to work through each of these on the podcast. And hopefully you're somewhere along the way here, and then you start to relate to each of these steps as I'm talking. Step number 1 is an awareness that change is needed. That for whatever reason, in whatever element of your life that you're talking about, usually it comes down to health, wealth, and relationships, that you feel like, for whatever reason, I'm just not on the right path. I'm just not on the right path. This element for me isn't going the direction that I want it to. I need to change. Humans are very, very lucky, but also unlucky because we torment ourselves as a consequence of it. But we're very lucky in the ability to be able to think or become aware of what we're thinking about. The rest of the animal world can't do that. But we can become aware that things aren't going the way that we want them. I think a lot of us, we're kind of trapped in this program where we get up in the morning and we just do whatever our body tells us to do. We get up and we make a coffee and we have a shower, we take a shit and pretty much drive to work, and then the day just becomes this memorized pattern. The moment you step out of the pattern and you become aware of the fact that nothing's fucking changing, every day is the same. And the only way that you're going to bring about something different is if you first become aware that there's a problem. You become aware that you're critically overweight. You become aware that you're borderline diabetic. You become aware that you're not the greatest role model for your kids. You become aware that you're living week to week with your paycheck. You're becoming aware that you've never left the country and you've got these dreams to actually do something bigger. You become aware that you don't actually like your fucking job and you've done it for 20 years and you don't like it anymore and it's bringing you sadness. The first step is to become aware. The next step is to have a high level of pain for your current circumstances. I want you to think about this statement. Most people don't change until the pain of staying the same outweighs the effort, the pain of change. Think of it almost like a set of scales. Most people, and this is the human condition, by the way, this is everyone, we don't do things generally until it gets critically desperate to do something. Examples of this might be you get diabetes and you have to do something about it. Or you realize that you're out of breath when your kid wants to play with you and you desperately need to do something about it. So you need to reach a high level of pain in your current circumstances, which give you enough leverage to actually want to change. Now, for those of you that are listening into this one live and you have the capacity to answer without like crashing your car, I'd love to hear what it was for you. And we've got quite a few people listening in live now. I'd love to hear what it was for you. What was the pain that you needed to get to before you actually made change? What was the pain? Because I think if you recognize what the pain is, it goes away to actually acknowledging this path that we're talking about, we're on here. So what was the pain that you needed to feel before you actually did something about it? Step 3 is this. You've got to make a commitment to stop being the person that you have been. And here's the reason why. I think a lot of us, we think to ourselves, you know what? I'm going to get fit. So we get a fitness coach, and then what we do is we get a meal plan and we get a workout plan, and we try to create this new life, but with the same mindset that we used to have. Does anyone resonate with that? So we all of a sudden think to ourselves, oh, I'm going to get fit. And we half our calories, and then we wonder why it doesn't stick. It's become apparent to me that the major reason is that before you start a commitment to who you want to become, you've got to commit first to who you don't want to be, the person you want to leave behind, because you can't change in a mindset that is created from shit, that is created from lack. Does this resonate? So actually ask yourself the question. We've got a number of our clients watching here on live, and we love you all. Have you actually committed to leaving the old you behind? Does that person still exist? Have you committed to saying that person is dead? If you want to create a new personal reality, in other words, a new fucking life, you've got to be willing to let the old personality die. That's really scary for a lot of people because you're going to find that your friends won't like it. Your partner won't like it. You've changed, Troy. And then you take that, oh, I've changed. Of course I've fucking changed. But it's met with resistance from the people around you. You've got to make a commitment. So if you're in Better Body Academy right now, I challenge you to ask yourself the question, have you actually committed to stop being the person that you didn't want to be before you tried to start being the person that you want to be? Step 4, after you've made that commitment, is before you commit to being the person that you want to be, you've got to get a clear idea of the type of person that you want to become. And you might be like, Jace, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay, well, I assume that you might have started your transformation because you saw someone that you admired or that you felt in rapport with or that you were inspired by, and there was something about that that made you go, oh, if he can do it, then I can do it. If she can do it, then I can do it. So what I'm challenging you to ask yourself in step 4 is get a clear idea of the type of person that you are wanting to become. What does that look like? What values do you actually have? Describe it, define it, put it on paper. As an example, I want to wake in the morning and I want to feel energetic. I don't want to feel tired and lack. I want to wake up in the morning and feel energetic. I want to feel inspired. I want to feel like I'm waking up with intention, knowing what I want to do that day. I want to be courageous. I want to be physically strong. I want to be mobile. I want to be a role model. I want to be courageous and be willing to make hard decisions and have difficult conversations. So before you try to create whatever it is that you're wanting to create in your life, and this is particularly relevant for you, Troy, as you enter this new phase of your life, get clear on the type of person that you're creating. Number 5, you've got this picture of who you want to create and what you want to create. Now you've got to ask yourself, why is that actually important to you? Because here's the thing. The moment you commit to change, transformation, you're going to face obstacles, big obstacles that feel insurmountable. So with that being the case, when you decide I'm going to change and then day 1 you crash your car and you think, fuck it, or day 1 your kid gets in an accident or your parent passes away, something horrible happens that ordinarily will derail you, you got to want to be clear on why you're actually doing it in the first place. Would you agree? So as an example, you might ask yourself, well, I want to be a good role model for my kids, but if it's pissing down raining the moment after you commit to that, and that means that you've got to go out and exercise in the rain. I tell you what, that's not going to be very comfortable. So you want to get clear on why you actually care. Inside of Better Body Academy, if you've started with us in the last year, we've done this together. We've asked you what your physical goal is, and then we've dug deep on why that physical goal is actually important. Why do you want to lose weight? And why is that important? And why is that important? And why is that important? We're digging into the drive so that when you have moments of low motivation, which will be equal 50% motivated, 50% days that you won't be motivated. Sometimes you're going to feel motivated, sometimes you're not. You better hope that you're clear in your purpose when those low motivation days come, because how are you going to be able to get yourself up off the floor when you're just tired and exhausted and uninspired and you don't feel like it? You're going to have to rely on your discipline. And that discipline's going to need to come by being very clear in who it is you are, why it is you want it. Number 6, you need a clear plan on how you're going to get there. Now, you could argue that there are many ways to skin a cat, and that would be absolutely true. There are many ways that you can build the body of your dreams. There are many ways that you can develop the relationship. We're all different, right? There are many ways that you can get rich. But you want to have a plan, because just hoping is not a plan. I'll give you an example. I speak to hundreds of people each week that want to get healthy. Okay, what does that mean, firstly? Because healthy could mean what does healthy mean? Secondly, what's the plan for you getting there, getting healthy? I'm going to eat less. Oh, okay. How's that going to go for you when you're hungry? What's the plan to earning more money? Oh, I'm going to get a new job. Okay. What happens when you don't get the job that you apply for? You got to have a plan. Now, the plan's got to contain 2 parts. It's become very clear to me that many fitness coaches, particularly on the internet, they think that the big thing that we've got to do is like overwhelm people with more information. That's actually not it. Most of us think we need more information. We don't actually at all. We need less. I don't know about you guys, but I feel plastered with information. I've got too much information. I need accountability, and I need to do the shit. I need to do the shit. So the system, your plan, must have 2 parts. If you're going to run a marathon, this is relevant for all the boys and girls that are running marathons and half marathons this weekend. You want to make sure that you've got not only the plan for building up to the marathon, but the accountability to stick to it when you realize that marathon training is very depleting on the body, and it fucking sucks when it's lonely by yourself and you hate running. So you want to have a plan, and you want to have some accountability. Next part. You need to act like you've already done it. So let's pretend that you want to run a marathon. In your mind, you need to create the environment. I'm a marathon runner. Not, I hope I run a marathon. I'm a marathon runner. That is my identity. If you want to create a situation where you're a great role model to your kids, you want to create in your mind the thought pattern that I'm a great role model. I act like it already. Not going into the mirror and hating yourself and rehearsing a story over and over again. That's a terrible role model. You're out of alignment. You're saying that you want one thing, but you're being another. Here's the thing, team. The brain doesn't know the difference between imagined and real experiences. Think about it, right? If you go and do a skydive and you feel the thrill of jumping out of a plane, you can create that same thrill in your mind using your creativity and emotions. So what I always do, and being a marathon runner, doing a skydive, what I personally did was, in my mind, I rehearsed it over and over again. Doing 75 hard, I've rehearsed finishing it. Becoming a fitness coach, I rehearsed it. Becoming a millionaire, I rehearsed it. I was already it before it happened. Does this make sense? If you want a thing, you can bypass actually needing to do it every day if you can think about it creatively and emotionally and become it. Now, a few of you are going to call bullshit on that idea. Totally understand that. I want you to go on Google and look up studies of where clients were put through tests to grow their biceps. One group actually did physical bicep curls. The other group were taught how to think creatively about doing the bicep curl in their mind without actually doing the bicep curl. And guess what? They grew bigger biceps. They've also proven this with people learning languages and working out how to play piano by rehearsing it in their mind. You need to become the thing before you ever be the thing. Does this make sense, team? Step number 8, you need to have an embodiment mindset. What does that actually mean? I think a lot of people start a fitness transformation journey with the goal to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. The goal isn't to become a healthy person. The goal isn't to become someone that embodies health and then teaches this to their kids and to their family. Instead, the goal is to lose weight. That's not an identity. You have not embodied the sense of what you're trying to create. If you want this to be long lasting and you don't just want to lose the weight for the wedding and then put it all back on again, or lose the weight for the summer holiday and then put it all back on again, you need to become the thing. Think about this. People do this in the opposite. People think, all this shit doesn't work. What they don't realize is the contradiction of that statement. Your thoughts have created the life that you've got right now. Good or bad, whether you like it or not, it's true. Your thoughts have created this. So if you start a fitness transformation out of a place of, look, I'm just going to lose this weight and then I'm going to go back to doing what I did before, the chances of you sticking this are fucking zero. Absolute nada. The people that break through, become marathon runners or gym goers or role models or great parents, are people that make the phase of thinking first, coming up with the idea that I can change, thinking about doing it over and over and over and over and over again on repetition, being it. Being it is when you don't have to think about doing it anymore because you already do it automatically because that's you. And why would you do anything differently? It's harder for me to not go to the gym than it is to go to the gym. It's harder for me to eat shit than it is to eat the way I eat because it's embodied in me. People miss the last bit. They think about it, they do it for a bit, and then they go back to doing what they did before without properly embodying what they've learned. Step number 9 is your attitude towards failure. I think a lot of people start and expect there are going to be no obstacles. But the truth is, at every level of your growth, whether it's making more money, getting better relationships, having a better body, better mental health, you are going to face obstacles. Think about it. What separates you from wherever you want to be in life, whatever abundance or whatever freedom that's coming for you, whatever separates you is an obstacle. It's an obstacle of your skill set or your mindset. Would you agree? It's one of those two things. The reason that you are not a millionaire, if you're not, is because you don't have the skill set of creation of money, or you don't have the mindset to be able to hold that. The reason that you don't have the body that you want is you haven't developed the skill set of doing things like tracking your nutrition and understanding nutrition, of lifting weights, of the reason why we walk so much, or you don't have the mindset to stick to it. This isn't being critical. This applies to me as well. So the attitude is, okay, I am going to fail, not if I fail. I am going to fail. I expect to fail. If I didn't fail, then I would already be at the point that I want to be at. There would be no obstacles. You'd already be there. You'd already have a body that you want or that you love. You already have complete self-love. Does this make sense? So we've got to have this attitude towards failure, which is, I expect the failure to come. I expect to have obstacles. How do I navigate these obstacles when they do come? Step 10 is resilience. This is to understand that not only will the obstacles come, but I'm going to have the mindset, the grit, and the determination to work through them. I'm not going to give up. And sometimes I won't feel like I am winning, especially the weight on the scales, especially the money in our bank account, especially when we're trying to work through difficulties with our partner around lack of communication. It gets really, really damn difficult, doesn't it? And most people give up because they don't have the resilience. And this is the reason why they don't get where they want to. Shout out to a bunch of you, and you know whether you have this or not. You will almost know internally and wear this as a badge of honor if you're the type of guy or girl that you know that you have really broad shoulders. This doesn't mean that you don't suffer negative emotions. It doesn't mean that at all. But you've got resilience. You're a hard motherfucker. And here's why you need to be a hard motherfucker. Because on the journey, guess what's going to happen? People, and it's going to surprise the shit out of you, people are going to turn against you. The reason that people are going to turn against you is they will start looking at your life through their life lens. This isn't critical. It's not that they're trying to be an asshole. They just don't understand you anymore. It's not that they're evil. They're just asking, Jace, why don't you drink anymore? Why don't you come and drink with us anymore? I don't understand that. And it's completely reasonable as a question. So you need to have resilience to know who you are and what your identity is and what you now stand for and what you do want in your life and what you don't want in your life. And I tell you what, that is really fucking hard. It's really hard because sometimes you feel judged, you feel like you're leaving people behind, you feel like you're letting people down. People will say to you things like, you've changed, you're not as fun as you used to be. And you need to have the skin thick enough to stick to whatever it is that you want to stick to. That doesn't mean that you can't have fun in your life at all. Far from it. I've got a fucking great fun life. But it's really hard when you get judged for doing your best. And to those Aussies out there who listen to the podcast, you know that this is the tall poppy syndrome and it's just the way things are. The final step of this kind of what I see as an 11-step journey towards, great growth in your life is a willingness to teach and share. Now, why is this important? I don't know personally many selfish, successful people. Do you? Ask yourself the question. Of the people that you really admire, my bet is that they're really generous. They're really sharing. You get a sense of love and warmth that comes from them. And that's because one of the greatest ways for you to embody success and growth and new skills and a new mindset is to become someone who teaches it. This doesn't mean that you need to be an expert. But if you are inside of Better Body Academy and you look at the greatest people in our group that are winning on high levels, notice what they do? They share. They share regardless of how busy they are. Now, I want the conversation to turn inward to you. I bet the moment you feel most successful, the moments you feel most successful are when you feel engaged, when you feel like you're helping other people, when you're sharing how you're winning with other people. And rather than getting competitive and trying to peg each other down, instead, people say to you, how are you doing whatever you're doing? And you get excited about the idea to share. It's what the greatest thing is about being a coach, is that you get, the main drive that you need to have is a desire to help people and share. And this boils in me every single day. And it's so exciting when you see one of your guys or girls win, and then they become the person that then helps another person win. And it becomes this like chain effect. It's beautiful. So guys, I'm going to end the podcast here, mostly because I really do think this episode is probably for people who are at the point in time where they're kind of open to learning. Maybe they've been on the fence for a little bit about starting a transformation of some kind, and they've kind of been like, they're at the first step. They're at the awareness of, look, my life's not where I want. They're not being hypercritical of themselves, but they've just come to the realization that, particularly this happens in midlife, doesn't it? I'm 42 years old, I think. Yeah, 42 years old. And it comes to us at this time of life where we go, okay, cool. Life feels a bit groundhoggish, right? I don't want to keep recycling the same thing. I saw a comment from one of my former clients, Warren, the other day, who he said, your perspective on life changes when you're closer to death than you are to birth. And I thought to myself, fucking hell, that is so accurate, isn't it? So what a lot of people do is they'll go out and buy a fancy car, they'll kind of have an affair, or do stuff to try to make them feel alive again. That's not going to help. It's not going to cover anything up. When you go home and you stand naked in front of your mirror, you're still going to be the same girl or guy without your possessions. Does this make sense? So this growth journey that we're all on, it gets really exciting when you're in the right community and you understand that it's not going to be easy. You've got to open yourself up to the expectation of failure and tough days and days where you just want to sit down and you just want to give up because you feel like you're not enough. You've got to talk yourself back into starting again. I've got to press reset again. I've got to come at this new week with a new mindset. If that's you and you're in that zone now, you're on the path. You're some way between steps 1 and 11. Guys, I'm going to leave the podcast here. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast. Hopefully you got some value out of today's chat. See you in the next episode. Okay, team. I didn't prep much at all for this episode. I'm speaking straight from the heart in this episode because I have been through it in areas of my life and am still deep in it in other areas of my life. Hopefully it was relatable and hopefully you've kind of gained something out of this. I will post into our client Facebook groups, I will post the summary of this podcast because I think the 11 steps written out might actually help people. But aside from that, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Hopefully it's helpful and we will chat to you in the next episode. Peace out. Big love. See you soon.